Papers, and I'm sure for a lot of you listening, this will be one of the many important things to look forward to for the day today. Crosby's here. Crosby, good morning. I trust that you're well.
Good morning, Martin. I'm very fine. How are you?
I'm well too.
How was your weekend?
I was watching you yesterday.
You doing what?
I was watching you on the news yesterday. Yeah.
But we watch you on the news every day, every weekday. I mean.
No, I'm just saying I was watching you yesterday as part of preparing for the start of a new week.
Yeah,
so I start the week with you on my TV.
Charlie, let me change my chair. The chair is taking me down. I refuse to go down.
Amen. That's Robert Crosby, and I'm seeking to as quickly as possible switch his seats. We have quite a number of papers here this morning, and so we'll begin and get into it straight up. I'll start off with the Custodian newspaper this morning. Their tagline: fearless, fair, reliable. Minority hangs dark clouds on Bafuboni's vetting. We're seeking to hear bits and pieces of that. John Boadu declares bid for NPP chairmanship. That's also on the front page. Private sector, government must be partners in nation building. Alex Dade. Africa needs ethically homegrown AI strategies, as according to the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. Waste managers suspend strike after government assurance. On the back page, Prudential Bank supports Ghana's upstream oil and gas sector. The Republic Press, Brian vindicated at last as SNIT renews hands for strategic investor. We'll seek to get details of that. Doesn't mean they're seeking to sell again. NIMOS arrests 41 suspects, including 32 Nigerians in Birim North and Fantuako South District. They are engaged in galamsey. Mahama urges media to safeguard peace ahead of 2028 elections. God will not send money from heaven. Mining will continue. Adan MP, Ashanti region, man discovered dead in galamsey pit after altercation with sex worker.
What did the MP say again?
God will not send money from heaven. Mining will continue. I'll get the details.
Maybe the details will give it some context.
We'll give it some more context, because the headlines can be very mischievous. That I need to admit. The Daily Democrat, nothing but the truth is their tagline. Mahama assures media of funding and protection, while Ghana's credit ratings improving, a case for fiscal and monetary discipline. Lands Minister orders probe into galamsey attack incident. GJ President calls for Mensah declaration to end galamsey. Private sector key to Ghana's growth, KGL boss. The final newspaper I have, the exclusive. Ghana needs partnership, not rivalry. Alex Dade saying this. Government assures the waste management of managers of sweet payment settlement. Media Development Fund returns in 2026 budget. Kwak Benu pledges swift reforms for CWSA modernization. Lands Minister vows tough action after galamsey assault incident. New gold board tax to boost gold revenue. Those are my papers this morning.
I'll start with the Publisher newspaper. The New Publisher banner headline: search for new CJ. Parliament vets Justice Bafuboni despite minorities' objection. That is expected to happen. Also on the front page, John Boadu runs for NPP national chairman. That story is on page 3 of the paper. Mahama School's journalist on news reportage. Also, police investigates coach of alleged sodomy. 16-year-old victim dead. These are the stories on the front page of the New Publisher newspaper. Then to the Daily Gist paper. 5 names out for NPP national chairmanship. It has the pictures of Boache Trematin Edjakon, John Boadu, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, Bernard Mfibuesiakon, and then Kwabna Abankwa Yeboah. The 5 names out looking to be the NPP national chairman. Also, take firm decision on galamsey fight. Otumfuo tells Mahama firm decision. Minority threatens to block acting CJ vetting today. Africa must build inclusive and ethical AI frameworks, Julius Debra is saying. Helicopter crash probe report ready. Full stories on page 2 of the paper. And OSP backtracks assets seized are not for Mustafa Hamid. That story is on page 2 of the Daily Just newspaper. Now to the Archives newspaper. It says profiling the fact. On the front page, OSP now a crime scene. Pebu alleges house helps on payroll. That story is on the front page of the paper, but the details are on page 2 of the paper. It comes with the pictures of the special prosecutor, Martin Pebu himself, and one Kwabna Boating Edu. Also on the front page of the Archives newspaper, wanted police hunt for man linked to multiple killings. S&P upgrades Ghana's credit rating from CC plus to or C to B minus or B. Cites $11 billion in reserves and fiscal discipline. Embrace private sector as partner, not competitor. KGL boss advocates.
He's in almost every newspaper this morning.
Yeah. A lot of media houses went there, I believe. Also, government to resume abandoned Takoradi Market Circle projects. The finance minister has visited the site. 2 more from me. The Informer newspaper, like you mentioned, private sector strategic partner in nation building, KGL boss. That story is on page 4. A legend goes home. Dr. Mohammed bin Abdullah remembered. SML in dirty blackmail over contract cancellation. But the banner headline is this: government's galamsey fight crumbles as illegal miners overpower state. That's how the story, the paper captured it. Government promises to settle debts owed waste service providers, and S&P thumbs up Ghana for good economic management. And finally is the News Center newspaper. It comes with a picture of the 2024 Journalist of the Year, Godwin.
The one and only.
The one and only. The picture is nice, oh.
Yeah.
I see why this Rasta.
No, the mic is blocking it. So raise it small so that that's a journalist of the year.
Fanboy,
2024.
Fanboy with substance.
We'll seek to engage him a lot later today as well. The president has congratulated him.
You president mentioned your name before.
Godwin, congratulations to Godwin Asidiba of TV3 Network Limited and all other journalists who receive awards at the 29th GG Media Awards in Kumasi on Saturday. I also congratulate the Ghana Journalists Association for the innovative decision to move the celebrations to the Ashanti region as well. And so big huge congratulations to our very own Godwin Asidiba, who's in the UK. He's a reigning BBC Komla Dumo Award winner as well. And so a fantastic...
He's the reigning Michael Elliott Award winner.
Absolutely, as well. It's the first time a Ghanaian and African had picked up that award as well. And so a fantastic year for him, that I must say. And congratulations to Godwin again.
Okay, still on the front page of the News Center, OSP got it wrong. Stories on page 2. SML insists findings were rushed, urges president to review evidence before enforcing contract termination. Local marine insurance to boost CD, create jobs. That's IBAG is saying. S&P upgrades Ghana to B minus or B. Outlook is stable, and Ghana extends aid to Jamaica, Cuba, and Sudan. So these are the stories captured on the front page of their News Center newspaper.
We're getting into the details. Let me start off with that commentary by the MP about mining. It's the Member of Parliament for Ada constituency and also Deputy Majority Whip, Comfort Duyu Kuju Gansa. She's criticized those calling for a ban on mining in the country, labeling them as hypocrites. She argued that God put gold on the land for Ghanaians and it's not feasible for him to send money from heaven instead. According to the MP, what Ghana truly needs is a modification of mining practices to ensure the extraction of gold without destroying the land, forests, and water bodies. She emphasized that mining is a vital part of Ghana's economy and has been a significant contributor to the country's development. Kujo Gansa called on mining experts to share their knowledge and teach miners proper mining techniques. And so she says that, well, the gold, they put it here for us. And so mine we must, but we must do it responsibly. And so that's a bit of context to that story. Still on mining, we know that NIMOS clamped down hard on some illegal miners. But of concern is a sheer number of foreigners Out of the 41 arrested, 32 were Nigerians in both the Brim North and Fantiakwa South districts. An operation carried out by the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has led to the arrest of suspects engaged in illegal mining activities. The operation was carried out in the eastern region with a major success that led to multiple arrests and the seizure of mining equipment and cash. During the exercise in the Brim North districts, the task force apprehended 5 individuals, including a foreign national believed to be engaged in illegal mining. The team also impounded heavy-duty machinery and recovered substantial amount of cash and other mining-related materials from the sites. The team also extended its operation to Osino in the Fantiakwa South district, where a coordinated dawn raid led to the arrest of 36 individuals comprising 32 Nigerians and 4 Ghanaians suspected of engaging in illegal mining.
It's interesting how a lot of the foreigners now, we're not only seeing Chinese nationals, a lot of people,
West African nationals as well.
The ECOWAS sub-region are all coming to Ghana to come and help us destroy our environment. But
it's a help us destroy.
I mean, that's what we're doing. If we're talking about galamsey, during the GJ Awards, President Mahama was there. The Asante Otumfuo 82 was also there. And then he says Mr. Mahama should take a firm decision on galamsey fight. That story is captured on pages 3 and 8 of the paper. So Otumfuo has issued a strong admonition to President Mahama, urging his government to take a firm, decisive stance in the fight against illegal mining, also known as galamsey, even if such decisions risk political backlash. So he says galamsey, for example, is an issue that is dear to everybody's heart. We have to be very careful because it's destroying the country. It's becoming more and more like a mafia situation. If we are not very careful, it's going to engulf all of us.
If it hasn't already.
If you continue on page 8 of the paper, so the Asantehene, who was upset about the situation, said, we have to take the issue very, very seriously. We joke about it or we think it's not serious, but it is. And I ask how many people will vote for a party or a government. Why we don't want to take firm decision on these things? Because it's politics. It's because of votes, nothing else. He says we're not able to be very decisive and clear in our minds which action or steps we need to take to stop this once and for all because of politics. So Otumfuo stressed that leadership demands courage, even if it means losing elections. You know that in the 2020 elections, a lot of the members of parliament who lost on the ticket of the MPP in the Galamsey areas, they said it was because of campaigning.
But that was that theory or that argument was done away with when you look at the data. And the analysis. It was just a convenient way to explain.
But I mean,
the choice Ghanaians made. The numbers don't speak to the fact that it was because of galamsey people lost the elections.
But people really think that
it's deliberate. I mean, it's deliberate to want to continue to repeat that so as to make it come off as if we fight galamsey too much, we will lose the votes, and so let's try and manage it whilst people are making money off the destruction of the environment. I don't think that washes.
So Otumfuo stressed that leadership demands courage, even if it means losing elections. If that's why they don't vote for your party, then they shouldn't vote. Unless we are all complicit, I can't see why we cannot take up this matter seriously. He says maybe it's not happening where you are, but I must say that in my domain it's happening there, and I've challenged the chiefs that if you're there and your land is being messed up like this, they tell me we don't have the arms, we cannot fight them because they are so fully armed that we cannot even go anywhere near. He recounted. And this concern about how these people, the illegal miners, are armed, is corroborating a story on the front page of the Informer newspaper. The headline is Government Galamsey Fight Crumbles as Illegal Miners Overpower the State. To a certain extent, it may not be very false. We know that the paper says, despite assurances by government that strategies being deployed to combat illegal mining activities in the country will pay off, hence no need for the declaration of a targeted state of emergency in areas badly affected by galamsey. Recent events have proven otherwise. In a spate of 1 week, government efforts in tackling the menace hit a snag following barefaced attacks on state agencies and a task force put together to lead the fight. First, it was at Bronikrom near Fidi Mahafo region where illegal miners clashed with the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. The team overpowered them and then freed colleague galamseyers placed in lawful custody. The NIMO's Director of Operations, Colonel Dominic Bois, who has described the attack as bloody, revealed that they survived only by the grace of God. So that's...
Oh, he's been speaking now. It says he survived by the grace of God. Up until now, we hadn't heard.
He's saying. So, okay, he's quoted as saying that when the incident happened, having spoken to the Director of Operations of NIMOS, he indicated to me that he survived clearly by the mercy of God, because if you look at the intensity of the anger and how they were very much charged, he and the rest of the team would have lost their lives. If you look at the videos, it was a possibility. You should have heard him or the rest of the team narrate the incident. It was bloody, and it could have been a different story altogether. Colonel Bois is reported to have said after the attack. Now, he says, as if that was not enough, that was not an enough signal for the government to be ruthless in its efforts to come back to the menace. Agencies leading the fight decided to issue countless statements to condemn those alleged to be masterminds of the deadly attack, only for the Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nanama Kluti, and a team to be given a hot chase by illegal miners in Obuasi, and in the process got involved in an accident as they ran for their lives. So in a week or 2 weeks, we're seeing these major incidents, these major fight backs or clap backs from the galamsey operations. It is as though illegal miners have overpowered the state and urgent action is needed. But it's good to know that the president says that he will not tolerate this, but beyond, the non-tolerance for these actions, what more?
Well, it's important. We get to see a bit more and talk of the president. Here's the president in his own words from the weekend, just briefly, as to what he intends to. And he served some warning in relation to that and in the fight against galamsey as well.
Journalists like Erastus Asaridonko and my dear brother Ohiming, who won the best reporter on illegal mining, and many others who persist in exposing environmental crime at great personal risk to themselves. Your bravery is noted, it is patriotic, and your efforts strengthen our moral reserve to continue the fight against illegal mining. I wish to assure you as your president that I will never give up the fight.
As the president, assuring that he won't give up the fight, because quite a number of our colleagues have been engaged in reportage about galamsey, and at the cost of their lives sometimes, almost, because we've seen that happen from over the weekend, where one of our colleagues was involved in an accident and had a broken thigh and all of that. And so it will be important to see beyond the words what decisive action, because we know he said that the communities who are attacking, they will be dealt with firmly. There are two now. Is it three? There was the
Bronikrom one.
The Bronikrom. There was the one going to after
the Obuasi area. The
Obuasi area. In fact, in all of that, our focus has been on the individuals who were involved in the accident and whatever. But there were two teams that day, actually. Ibrahim spoke to us and confirmed that. There were two teams. One went into the Obuasi township and the other one was going towards the name of the town is just escaping me this morning. The team which was outside of Obuasi, which had the EPA balls, was the one involved in the accident, which had Ibrahim. There was another team that went into the Obuasi township who also had to run and seek refuge at the chief's palace. because the report was that men wielding guns actually accosted them, and they had to run into the chief's palace to be saved. And so 3 such incidents, 3 such towns, we need to see the firm action in that regard.
But in all the arrests that the NIMOS team makes, when they're declaring the things that have been seized or that have been found there, almost all of them, there are reports of weapons that these people were arrested, and then the site manager had a pistol on him. This one had a pump action gun. All of them have weapons on them when they are working. I mean, if you're doing something that is right, will you need to go to work with do you have a weapon with you right now, Marina?
The presence of the weapon now speaks more to the problem we have on our hands as a country, and the fact that we're in very perilous times where people can be wielding guns and the likes, and will be everywhere in terms of our forests, mining, and any attempts to want to engage, any attempts to want to do anything could have them open fire on you.
Exactly, and that's
it's a serious cause for concern.
Said that when they met with these people, head team, which had national security operatives, advised them to run, because if they engage in a firefight, they will kill all of them.
They will. I mean, a lot of them, civilians, will be injured.
Charlie, it's not a good thing at all. There still calls for the declaration of a state of emergency. This one is coming from President of the KNUST chapter of UTAG, Professor Eric Abavari. He says declare temporary ban on mining to reassess galamsey fight. That has been also said by the MPP flag bearer hopeful Brian Champon. He says that 90-day ban on all mining activities. Take that and then use the time to reflect and then map up a strategy on how to, overcome this illegal mining concern. But we're still talking about it. We're hoping that something concrete will be done that eventually would free all of us of this demon we have come to live with. The Archive newspaper is also reporting this story. Ghana's HIV infections on the rise as National AIDS Fund remains empty. That's a subject we dealt with much.
Yeah, last week.
They say their fund is empty. The Ghana AIDS Commission was established in 2002. It was initially funded by the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. And for more than a decade, the Global Fund supported both medication and prevention programs. But in recent years, the fund redirected the resources primarily toward purchasing life-saving antiretroviral drugs, leaving Ghana's government to finance awareness and prevention. So government after government, we have not been able to secure adequate funding for prevention and awareness campaigns. The fund was supposed to become operational around 2016 or 17 after the law was amended. But as we speak, it says there's no money in it. After every budget allocation, nothing gets released. It's sad.
And this year as well, nothing has been released.
Yes. He revealed that no finance minister has yet gone to Parliament to seek approval for budgetary allocation into the National HIV and AIDS Fund, despite legal provisions mandating. And then we're also seeing an increase in the cases. We're seeing a decline in the use of condoms and all of that. So it's a whole ecosystem. If one is not functioning properly, it will have
a rippling effect on
all the others. There's another interesting story here that I think it is by the I'll find it right now, and that has to do with the OSP. And the paper is saying that Martin Pegbu, yes, alleges that the house help of the OSP is on payroll. The Archive newspaper says OSP now a crime scene. Pegbu alleges house helps on payroll. I'd want to get into the paper and then
let's get the detail, and then we'll do the Bafuboni as well.
Okay, so he says he questioned the integrity of certain employment practices at the OSP, alleging that some individuals serving as house helps and Mr. Ejabing's residents were also listed on the OSP's payroll. He's quoted as saying, "I want Kisi Ejabing to answer these questions. Are there true employees of the OSP who are currently working as house helps in his home? Are they true members of staff? Meanwhile, they are on the OSP payroll."
Where was he?
Key points.
Key points.
Yes.
He was making these claims on key points.
Yes, he was making these claims on. He says Kisi Ejabing should tell the people of Ghana who is Kwabena Boateng Edu, popularly called Santa Baron.
He's been on the case, particularly since the special prosecutor made revelations on KSM show that they weren't receiving cooperation from respective government agencies in investigating Ken Ofori-Atta, and that they knew he was going, but they could not do anything about it because they were not in control. And since then, he said that he doesn't think he can do the job because he should have sounded the alarm bells so that Ghanaians will stop the former finance minister from leaving the country and to draw all attention. But the moment he kept quiet, Mr. Kpebu says there was some collusion, and so he can't trust that.
So just like you say, the quote is this: Oral was working when Ken Ofori-Atta left, yet Kisi didn't see it fit to alert Oral that the finance minister, was about to flee. Oral had security couples who could help. No press conference either. And you think you have a special prosecutor? He says, "Walai, we are finished." But before then, Kisi must leave that office first.
Oh my goodness.
He says this is just a tip of the iceberg. He says, "Walai talai."
And the paper captures the Walai talai.
That's even in capital letters. Walai talai.
Well, the minority, they are hanging a dark clouds over the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Bafuboni. We'll see where that takes us today. And we know on Friday there was quite the debate on the floor of the House, but the Speaker dismissed the motion to delay the vetting. The Speaker dismissed the motion filed by the minority leader seeking to hold the vetting of Justice Bafuboni until pending legal cases involving former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu are resolved. Delivering his ruling on Friday, the Speaker rejected the motion, stating that court proceedings cannot obstruct Parliament's constitutional responsibilities. There is no constitutional or standing order basis for Parliament to hold the process simply because there are pending cases in court, he stated. He ruled that allowing such a motion will set a dangerous precedent. Should I accept that argument, it will mean that any litigant could hold Parliament hostage, that is, file a case and freeze the work of Parliament and its committees, Speaker Bagbin concluded. And so we wait to see whether or not they will be present, because now the Speaker has cleared the way for that vetting to take place. Would it mean that they will partake? And we will need the minority to be present, because that's when all of the other questions which will be of utmost importance will be asked. And we can assess the Chief Justice nominee as well based on that. Not to say that the NDC majority will not ask questions, but we've come to understand that the minority is always poised to ask the more pressing questions in our fourth Republican history, and so we need that to feature as well this time round.
That's great to think like that, but I chanced upon a write-up over the weekend after the minorities, positioning on the Bafuboni thing, that what was their role in the vetting of some of the ministers we have right now? They mentioned the Greater Accra Regional Minister, for instance.
The fact that they didn't do anything.
The minority leader himself was there. The minority was fully present. What did they ask the Greater Accra Regional Minister? If you're going by that, is it not fair to think that whether they are there or they are not there, they can decide to ask good questions or not?
Yeah.
Because we've seen it happen before. That they said, did they say that your people have come to see us, so we know you or something?
The Greater Accra Regional
Minister.
Yeah, so I recall that statement very well.
It is fair to think that even if they are there when the Chief Justice nominee comes, they may go the same route. But I mean, for this, I doubt, though. But it's a fair point that the person raised in the write-up based on what they have done before. And it was not only Justice Bafo, it was not only the Greater Accra Regional Minister who we had concerns about. There were a lot of ministers who were passing through who were expected, and we expected some kind of questions for the nominees to answer in relation to policy direction, amongst others. But some were saying that they were using it to settle personal scores. Some were saying they were asking, questions that were not very relevant to the person's ministry or what new thing the person is bringing on board, amongst others. So we hope that this will change. But even if they don't come there or they're not present, that the majority will, for the interest of Ghana, touch on crucial subjects, so that
and the removal process of the Chief Justice will feature greatly in that conversation. What he makes of it. That's why it will be interesting to have the minority present, because they say, particularly the majority leader has been making the case that look, there's an element of bias by the acting Chief Justice, because it serves his interest to have things go the way it has gone, and he's the ultimate beneficiary. It would be nice to have him answer to that. If the minority are not present, it would be nice to have the majority as well ask that question
about.
and clear the air in terms of what he makes of all of these claims as to being the ultimate beneficiary or otherwise. And remember that, I mean, that vetting will be live on a number of our handles, 3FM 927 here, as well as on TV3 Ghana. Will be there to follow through the proceedings and bring it to you live, what really transpires from the floor of the House. That features greatly as well on the portals. 3news.com is leading with passport fees slashed to 350 cedis, 30% reduction effective November 13. That should be on Thursday. November 13 should be on Thursday. You could pay as little as 350 cedis for your passport. Yesterday, Heart of Oak suffered a defeat to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. That's also there. Government raises public sector salaries minimum wage by 9% for 2026. That as well is making the rounds, and as well, if you go to City Newsroom, the CJ's appointment committee meeting the nominees meeting is front and center on the newspapers this morning as well. Any comments from the stream as we continue on this morning's review segment? Let me check that quickly. A number of you sharing your thoughts with us as well as we continue here this morning for you on the 3FM Sunrise. A few good mornings here and there. Someone asking, Emil Smith is a regular. He's always expressing or wishing us a good morning. But let me bring details of this passport fees being slashed for Ghanaians, because we know that the cost of acquiring a Ghanaian passport, that story is on 3news.com, by the way, is set to drop significantly after the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced a 30% reduction in the standard application fee. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa announced on Sunday, November 9, that Ghanaians will begin paying a new reduced fee of 350 cedis, down from the previous cost of 500 cedis. The new fee structure will come into effect on Thursday. Yes, like I was right. And so now they say you can get the passport in how many days? Is it 14 days?
Yes. That's for regular, but it's even shorter if you want the service expedited. And the technology introduction, they're working 24 hours right now. So the entire passport application process has been streamlined, has been simplified to a large extent. I mean, well done to the Foreign Affairs Minister, and then the passport office as well. So a lot of the people, the Goro Boy issue, all of that have also been removed.
It's reduced greatly.
It's all not there again.
Well, this week we also are expecting the Finance Minister to be in the House. 2026 budget reading is on this week, I think Thursday. So as the slash in passport prices is taking effect, the finance minister will be expected to be reading the budget as well. And ahead of that, he needed to agree public sector wages, and that's been increased by 9%. 9%. And the government has approved a 9% salary increase for all public sector workers under the single spine salary structure for the 2026 fiscal year. Additionally, the National Tripartite Committee has agreed to a 9% upward adjustment in the national daily minimum wage, moving it from 1997, that's 19 cedis, 97 pesos, to 21 cedis, 77 pesos. The new rate takes effect from January 1 to December 31, 2026. The agreement signed on November 9, which was yesterday, between the government, represented by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and the Ministry of Finance and Organized Labor, follows successful negotiations aimed at ensuring stability and fairness in the public sector. And so 9% upward trajectory if you're a public sector worker on the single spine salary structure. I don't know what you make of it, Crosby. 9% enough?
So the conversation about the increase, I would want to, have a fair understanding or a good understanding if I'm working with the inflation rate.
Inflation is now at 8.
So
right?
if you just go by the percentage increases, you may not be getting the correct figures.
Right.
And I'm reading something here that Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate was 23.2% in December 2023. That's according to the GSS. But workers were offered 30%. That was 7% above inflation. Inflation now and in the future is key negotiating the wages. We know that inflation is heading south and the real wages is not being consumed by inflation any longer. So if you think like that, I'm saying if you think like that, then you'd appreciate why the 9% is good. It may, in your ear, it may look small.
Yeah.
But if you're working with how inflation has worked over the years, then you think it is okay. You can also disagree, and then you'd be very right with it, because you're looking at the things behind the numbers itself, and that would also paint a different picture. I'm sure when they were negotiating maybe Daniel Opoku will be able to tell us more, that they approached the table with a higher number, and then this time, good to know that the president did not have to be there. Yep. They went to the table with a higher number, but they came to 9% agreed.
That's always what happens. You go with your number, but the negotiation will determine.
You know how the 2024 was arrived at.
Yeah.
They say the president had to come there.
Yeah, the president arrived and the people couldn't do anything. They said, he came and he put everything to bed.
It is this good news that brought me into the studio.
The 9% upward rejection.
Yeah.
You get some.
Oh no, I know people who get some.
Okay.
Everybody knows somebody who gets some.
Okay. Me, I'm excited about the people who get some.
Yeah. In fact, when I put, when we did the news card, when I did the news card and I put it on our status, someone reacted with excitement. That, I mean, whether you like it or even if it's 2%, your salary will go up every year.
But some
no,
of
I'm
them,
just saying.
Well, you see, it's a percentage of how much you are earning at present.
Yeah.
So if you are 1,000 Ghana, 9% of 1,000, you are still nowhere
I'm not sure.
out of.
Yeah.
So that's why, based on where you want to look at it from, if you're looking at it from the numbers, how much is coming to my money, how much I spend, then you think 9%, yes, you could imagine 10% now.
Blasphemy.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yes, you did 10%.
Blasphemy. But President Mahama, then candidate Mahama, gave some encouragement to organized labor that at that moment the country was struggling.
That was what they could afford.
Yes, and so let's work together. Let's fatten the cow again, so that everyone will enjoy some. I think we got off to a good start. There's been a lot of improvement in a lot of the sectors. For those of you who only watch your fuel gauges, you've been very excited a better part of the year. From January to November now, you've been, I think more than half of the year, you've been very happy. And maybe the problem we still have is that, is it food inflation they call it?
Yeah, food inflation.
My Hajia decides that despite everything else, Hajia will still hit the bowl and do like she's fetching the tin, but she comes out with an empty ladle, and then she uses it to hit my plate, and tells me that is Tangana. I think that is where the problem still is. That if you go into our markets, you find out there's the food produce generally still expensive. One would have thought that a lot of the things we saw, the improvements which we are seeing, would translate into that aspect, but we are still struggling with that. And it makes me wonder whether there's a way, as a Ministry of Agric, as a government, that basket could be dealt with.
You people, when
you are selling plantain at the ministry,
you say you don't like. Now you are calling.
But that was artificial. That was fake. There was no way that was going to deal with the prices of rising prices of food items. If you brought plantain, heads of plantain, tubers of yam, and cassava, and I think there was even contemporary there.
Yes, there was.
Yes. Yam. Then you brought these ones to the ministry. How are you resolving the problem? Because a large part of the population doesn't shop from the ministry. We have different markets we shop from. So if you brought it to the ministry and you decided to even sell it at half the market price to the ministry, there was no way that was going to influence the market pricing. You get it? So I don't know. It was mere optics. So that is why I mentioned the ministry again, that going forward, it's like the transport conversation we keep having, the trotro conversation we keep having in terms of pricing. We need to find a way to be able to deal with pricing on our markets.
Right.
That, yes, there may be other factors that eventually go into the price of a tuber of yam. But you can't come and sell a tuber of yam at 50 Ghana cedis to me, and you tell me that it is fuel, it is your transportation, it is the sun you are standing under. It's like the taxi driver telling you that when he goes, he won't get a passenger to come back, so he's charging you double. Or that the road is bad, he say, so he will charge you double because of that. There should be a way we can deal with this. Otherwise, we'll continue to be at the same place. We won't see the benefits of it. So public sector workers might get 50% increment in salary, but it still will not address their basic needs, because that 50%, when you add it to whatever amount you are receiving, you still will not be able to buy a tuber of yam. You still will not be able to buy a bowl of gari. You still will not be able to buy sugar. You still will not be able to buy a loaf of bread. So there's no breakfast in your house. You are still relying on white, what do they call it? White porridge, that's what it's called.
Mori cocoa. Cocoa pampa.
You are mentioning some name.
The white porridge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what? Pampa.
Yeah, Mori cocoa pampa. It's one of my favorites, actually. I really like it.
So it beyond, the increments, and I don't know how these negotiations are done, but maybe organized labor can also begin to think about engaging other sectors, in negotiating the final base pay. Do you get it? Right. So that if you have finally agreed on 9%, how are the other sectors of the economy augmenting the 9% you got? Transport.
It's the conditions of service that I'll also be looking at.
Yeah, so all of that will translate into that. So that, because they can give you your fuel allowance can increase by 9%, but you still will not be able to afford fuel.
Exactly.
So I think organized labor should also begin to look at it sector by sector. rather than bringing a bulk figure. I honestly don't know how it is negotiated. I don't know how organized labor arrives at its
consider inflation and a host of other things. That's why in the previous years when inflation was high, they said they weren't going to come down beyond or below what the inflationary numbers were. And I suspect that's one.
Is
of
that the one they accepted? Was it 5% or 7%?
No, that was
for the
prior.
politicians to collect plenty.
That was prior to inflation skyrocketing, amongst many other things. Gentlemen, thank you very much for helping do the news review. On the mention of food and its related matters, it's one of the things on our plates this morning, because we know that Farmers' Day appears to be in limbo because last year's winners, a number of them have not been awarded just as yet. They are raising concerns not to be a part of this year's celebration. We'll hear from them and we'll seek to, amongst many other things, take these matters before Govt.